So I'm gonna be talking about the NBA trades that happened last night, and we're gonna start with one of the biggest ones. It was an 18 it was an 8-player trade deal between two teams, between the Memphis Grizzlies. They, as you see on the screen, with Jaren Jackson Jr., who was one of the star big men along with John Morant at the time. Now he's traded to the Utah Jazz, and reports of an 8-player deal. The Memphis Grizzlies were previously believed that they were exploring trades for star guard John Morant, but they wound up shipping away their other star player. According to the Shams Karania, the Grizzlies are trading star forward Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Utah Jazz, along with guard Vince Williams Jr., forward John Kochar, and center Jock Londale. The Memphis Grizzlies are reportedly receiving guard Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida, forwards Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, and George Niang, and are 3 future first-round picks in the deal. Karania noted the deal creates a $28.8 million trade exception for the Grizzlies, the largest in NBA history. NBA insider Jake Fisher added that the Utah Jazz are sending the most favorable 2027 first round pick, Cleveland, Minnesota, Utah, to the Los Angeles Lakers for 2027 first round pick, and the Phoenix Suns 2031 first round pick to the Grizzlies. Memphis now has 12 firsts in the next 7 years. They only trail Brooklyn and OKC. And as the draft picks in Memphis, they got the 2026 to 2032, and they got the favorable first of Orlando and Phoenix. 2027 pick a top 4 prospect from the Lakers, and 2027 most favorable first round of Cleveland, Minnesota, and Utah, and 2029 and 2030 with Orlando and the rest is there. Last month, Karina reported Memphis was entertaining offers for Morant, and multiple teams were pursuing him in trade talks. The report came after there was an apparent tension between the 2-time All-Star and the Grizzlies coaching staff. Instead, Jackson is the first member of Memphis core to be on the way out. The 8-year veteran has appeared in 45 games this season, averaging 19.5 points, 5.8 rebounds, 1.9 assists, 1.5 blocks, and 1 steal. The Jazz are making a major swing for with Lauri Markkanen, Keontae George, Walter Kessler, and more. The move signals full rebuild for the Grizzlies around its promising young core, and now has many future first-round picks for any team in the NBA. Jackson, a 2-time All-Star and a 2023 Defensive Player of the Year, and he led the league in blocks back-to-back seasons in 2022 and 23, and so he should bring some stability to the Jazz team that ranks last in the league with 127 points allowed per game this season. There's still time between now and Thursday's trade deadline for teams to try to convince the Grizzlies to ship away Morant as well, which would kick off a full-scale rebuild for the team that entered the year with playoff aspirations. So yeah, with all of those picks from 2026 to 2032, and still John Morant is really unsatisfied, they had to make a move if you're the Jazz. I mean, if you're the Grizzlies, to get off of the contracts. And like I said, it creates it creates a $28.8 million space, cap space for the Grizzlies. And now they got a lot of these draft picks, 12 first in the next 7 years. They need to actually move on having to go out and get somebody at this point. And then not only that, I would say kind of get a veteran presence, get another young veteran presence, along with going for a younger squad, because now with those first-round picks, you can go up in the draft, you can move up, you can go down. Like, it's so much options they can do for those kind of picks. But for Jaren Jackson, I want to see how he's going to fare with the Utah Jazz, because that's a big major kind of move. I want to see how the Jazz is going to fare out with that, and it's going to make it more interesting for the next go around, the next upcoming years, because you never know what could happen. You know, teams could really push their way forward to what they was in previous years. Like the Jazz were last in points allowed defensively, so that can actually help them out with that a bit more. Offensively, they still gonna need some more bigger and better stars to really go alongside with Jaren Jackson. They need a primary ball handling point guard. They're gonna need a really good big man. They still got some moves to make. So we'll see how that's gonna work out for them. And as for the Grizzlies, like I said, they got so much ranks to do. They got so much moves to make that they're gonna have a lot. They're gonna have a lot of time to really think about it and assess. Once the season is over, once it rains on, they got the whole off season to really look at it and start to really go through that. And Jaren Jackson is going to a new coaching staff, new front office, so it's going to be a different outlook for him. He's a really good player. Like I said, he had averaged 19.5 points. He led the league in blocks last couple of years. He was 2023's Defensive Player of the Year a few years ago. So he's adding a lot of big presence. He's adding a lot of he's going to add a lot of presence. He's going to add a lot of impact to the court for them. So I just hope that they're going to have some pieces around him that can really help him out a bit. Some star pieces that can help him out a bit. So I like the move for the Jazz to try to get better. But for the Grizzlies, going younger, they're going to have a lot of long ways to go before they ever get back into prominence, because they pretty much are just out of it at this point. They're pretty much in rebuilding mode for a move like this. They're going to make it, plus they're going to move off of Ja Morant. They're pretty much in rebuilding mode at this point, so they're going to be falling down the ranks. They're going to be falling down the path. They're going to be falling down the path. Not the wrong path, but they're going to be falling down the path to go new and go bigger and go better. All right, so more trades to kind of talk about a bit. So the biggest move of the afternoon was James Harden, and James Harden going from the LA Clippers now being traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland. So the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Clippers agreed Tuesday to swap point guards Darius Garland and James Harden in one of a one deal that sends 2026 second round picks to the Clips, per ESPN Shams Carenia. Oh, hey, Rachel, Cassandra, hey, what's going on? Both teams are hoping this trade of 2025 All-Stars with nearly identical salaries will produce better results during disappointing campaigns. The Cavaliers are battling for positioning in the middle of an Eastern Conference playoff race after finishing atop the standings a season ago, where the Clippers' recent hot streak was lifted from them only into the play-in tournament after a dreadful start. So my thing is, I'm going to get into a long spiel for this one. So, of course, to stay afloat, so the Clippers got Darius Garland and a 2026 second round pick, and the Cavs just got James Harden. So, yeah, my thoughts about this whole thing right now is that with the LA Clippers getting Darius Garland, this actually helps them out a lot more due to the standpoint of their offense going to be a lot more faster pace and fast tempo. And knowing that you got, of course, you still got Zubac, you got Brook Lopez, you still got Kawhi, and then, of course, you still got guys like Bogdanovich also. So hopefully with Darius Garland being on there, the offense will start to pick up, the pacing will start to pick up, because at one point in time, the Clippers were next to dead last in the whole Western Conference. And now, in the last month and a half, a couple months into the season, into the new year, they was on a hot streak to the point where they started to finish ninth, and they probably was going to be in the play-in tournament. They was ninth, and they was pretty much on their way trying to make it in the last part of the spot in the playoffs. So they was pretty much on a hot streak with James Harden still, actively playing with Kawhi. But I just feel like James Harden has some kind of issues going on behind the scenes we don't know about with the front office and somehow with the coaching staff, I think. Maybe or so. Or maybe it just got to the point where he's been carrying the team all season, you know, on his body, weighing on his body at the time. So it was kind of a nuisance. And then Kawhi Leonard coming back because he's playing 34 games now. This is pretty much more than he's ever played, you know, at the beginning parts of the season because most of the time because of his knee injuries, he's been out. So now with Harden going to the Cavaliers, you know, he brings that veteran presence to a core where you still have Donovan Mitchell, you got Jared Allen, you got Evan Mobley, and of course they end up picking up Lonzo Ball. So you still got guys and pieces, John and Dejan and John Wade, or excuse me, Dean Wade, alongside Max Struss. So you still got pieces if you're the Cavaliers that can be a contention to go for in the playoffs, to go for a playoff seeding. Now they're probably still gonna be in the middle of the pack, middle of the road, you know, and they're probably just in contention to get into that top 5 position because you don't know what the Philadelphia 76ers is gonna be like and look alike. And then also with a move like this for the Cavs, it kind of dispels and goes to the rumors that we know about LeBron James having an interest or shared interest of wanting to go back to Cleveland. You still have LeBron James having an interest of going back to Cleveland because a lot of fans, a lot of Laker fans, and a lot of critics and media members do not want LeBron James right in LA right now, and plus LeBron's been taking a back seat. Now this would be the perfect opportunity if you're Cleveland fans or whatever who still want a chance to get back into another championship. You want they might as well just ride for him to come back, and especially with the moves like this, yeah, this definitely gonna pique up some interest for LeBron coming back. You know, because he realized this is a Lucas team. He realized that the Lakers with Lucas team, and with James Harden being over in Cleveland with that young core roster, it'd be the perfect opportunity for LeBron to try to say settle down and go back. But with James Harden being there, it makes a lot more sense with the veteran presence, and plus he will have to take on so much of a load because you got another star caliber player in Donovan Mitchell. So he won't have to take more shot attempts than what he did with the Clippers. So I think this actually kind of helps both teams in both scenarios. For the offense, for the Clippers, I think it helps them out better with the pacing, with the floor spacing, and with the impact. He'll be featured a lot more. He will be playing that point guard role, and we don't have to be so much of sharing that with Donovan Mitchell. He'll be the primary ball handler. But with the Clippers, with the Cavs, James Harden don't have to share so much of the load with the shot attempts because James Harden had the most shot attempts on the LA Clippers this season and last season, more than anybody else on the team. So you don't have to share that much of the load as far as the shot attempts because you got Mitchell and you got Mobley, you got everybody else that's gonna pretty much be the primary focal point. And he don't have to play so much hard, aggressive defense like he hasn't been doing his entire career. So you'll see more than doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, the impact of what he'll be like being there, and I think that's gonna really help him out better. So in my honest opinion, I think this trade actually does suit well for both teams in the long run in the future. But we'll see what things will be like. I still think the Clippers will be somewhat in contention to get into the play-in tournament and somewhat in contention to try to fight for the last seed in the playoffs. We'll see because they was really off to a slow start, and they've had a huge turnaround. So we'll see how that goes. And then for the Cavs, they're just trying to go in a win it all kind of mentality. So yeah, those are my thoughts with that. With those trade situations. Um, Let me see if there was any more else. All right. And of course, the Boston Celtics. This is another big story. The Celtics make another team a one on one team deal to get Nikola Vucevic for Fernie Simmons. The Boston Celtics acquired Nikola Vucevic in a trade with the Chicago Bulls. Sources told Shams Karina, adding some much needed help to their front court. The Celtics will trade guard Fernie Simmons and a second round pick to Chicago. Sources told Karina. After months of speculation, adding a big man and saving money this season, the Celtics accomplished both objectives in a single move Tuesday afternoon. 6'9", 6'9" Vucevic figures to fill a major need at the center position for the Boston Celtics, who have primarily unproven big men Nesmus Queta, 26, and Luka Garza, 27, at the center of the season. Queta has been one of the NBA's most improved players this season, stepping into a full-time starter role and delivering solid production of 10.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks per game. But Vucevic adding 16.9 points and 9 rebounds in 48 games this season and will give Boston additional shooting and rebounding to accompany Queta at the pivot. And also, Bobby Marks reported that Boston has saved more than $20 million in luxury tax payments in the move by swapping Simmons and his $27 million expiring contract for Vucevic and his $21 million expiring deal. Simmons, 26, averaged 14.2 points per game as a bench player for the Boston Celtics this season. The Celtics, 32-18, with their primary backcourt Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Peyton Pritchard, finished Tuesday night tied with the New York Knicks for the second best record in the Eastern Conference. It was the second trade completed Tuesday by the Bulls, who dealt Kevin Huerter to the Detroit Pistons in a 3-team trade involving the Minnesota Timberwolves. Chicago got another backcourt player, former Pistons guard Jaden Ivey, in that deal, leaving the open possibility of moving on from one or both Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu, which both of whom are restricted free agents this summer, before Thursday's 3 p.m. Eastern Time trade deadline. All right, so the main objective I'm going to talk about with the Celtics getting Nikola Vucevic is a really solid move for the Celtics because, the Celtics have gone through a whole overhaul of player move and roster moves with letting go of Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Drew Holiday, and so on and so forth during the last terms of the NBA's free agency at the time and offseason moves. So they needed a big man to really add to their presence because Queta Neemias Queta, he's added so much to that. He's added so much to that starting lineup core. But with adding Vucevic, he's another big man presence. Not only can shoot the ball at a high percentage, his rebound ability to get in the interior, attack the interior, and also pick the ball up on the floor and kind of take it and going downhill, adds a lot more to that arsenal of players that's added with the Celtics with Pritchard and Derek White now. So I like the fact that and adds a little bit more defensive core to that roster as well. Because Jaylen Brown not only improved defensively, Derek White's one of the better defensive guards and also rebounding guards for them and also in the entire league right now. And then Peyton Pritchard, who is a sharp shooter, that adds more to that arsenal, to that roster for them, that really is giving them a bit of a spark of what they didn't have earlier on. So I like the big man presence for them. I think that was a solid move for the Celtics. They needed that. They need that extra boost in confidence, and I think that's going to really push them forward and move them a little bit forward to the future end. And I think what they're going to do now is they're going to continue to get better. They're going to continue to add more, and they're going to continue to build upon what they've already gotten. So really good move for them, really good roster addition for them, and that makes it more suitable for them. So we'll see later on down the road when it gets to the postseason how much the move makes or breaks them and helps them out. So yeah, what a really solid pickup for them. But for the Chicago Bulls with Fernie Simmons, they're just gonna get another younger piece. They're gonna add more younger pieces to them because, like I said, they're in rebuilding mode at this point. They're not going anywhere. They're not anywhere near no playoff contention. So they're just pretty much trying to save off and shave off and get off their expiring contract money as they possibly can. But with the Detroit Pistons getting Kevin Huerter and dealing with Jaden Ivey, that's an interesting move. That's an interesting move for them. And also, they have a possibility of moving on from Kobe White now. I think that's really a interesting move for them. But the Pistons, I think they only just gotten better because they added another shooter to their arsenal with him and Duncan Robinson. I think that's a really big move for them. To go along with the defensive ability with Asar Thompson and Jaren Duran. I think that's a really big move for them. Isaiah Stewart. So I think now with some sharp shooting from them and with Huerter and Duncan Robinson, so they're already the number 1 seed. They pretty much made the biggest leap and the biggest surprise and jump, according to a lot of fans. They made the biggest surprise and jump in the offseason in this trade deadline. So I think that's going to be a big move for them, and also throughout the entire season, being the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference, which I don't think a lot of people expected at all. But this is a big move for them, and it's going to really add and build up their core, off the bench presence. So I think that's going to help them out with that. And in the postseason, when they need that shooting and they need that extra gear and scoring ability, they're going to get that from him and Duncan Robinson. So I like what they're going to build. I think they're going to do it right. And I can't wait to see how it's going to affect them. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts so far on these latest trades. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment section down below, as I'll be heading on out of here. I got a couple more videos to make, so be on the lookout for that, man. I'm out. Peace.